You can listen to the Canadian Gothic early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Include it with Prime.
You are listening to Keep Canada Weird.
Handsome Aaron Airport, I hope you had a happy Halloween. Did you?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I did. I went to that dance that I talked about at the Red Barn in Sydney River.
Okay, you did the dance and you were going to dress up. You were going dancing. Tell us what. Actually, just so people know, this isn't the Trick or Treat Halloween dance show. This is episode 187 of Keep Canada Weird, where Aaron and I seek out and explore the week's weird and wonderful Canadian news stories. But before we get into that, we're going to continue this conversation about Aaron's experiences at the Halloween dance at the Red Barn. How did it go?
It went well. We had a good time. Yeah, so there was this Dracula character that was there, and he was handing out roses to women.
Okay.
So he was just dressed as Dracula and handing out roses to who he thought was pretty and who he wanted to hit on or whatever. And he even had a little card that said, "You got a rose from Dracula," and
okay,
that kind of a thing, right? So anyway,
this is really corny.
Yeah. So the group that I was with, there was maybe 6 or 7 of us, and 2 of the women that were with us were like, "Oh, we got roses from Dracula," and I'm like, "Oh my God, really?" I was kind of laughing to myself, and so. Later in the evening, we were all kind of standing by the bar, and Dracula had come up to them again and was talking to them. And I was like, I wonder if I can get a rose from Dracula. I looked over at him and I said, "Hey, Dracula, can I have a rose?" He's like, "No." He had an accent.
Okay.
He's like, "No, I don't give roses to men." Okay. He's like, "And if you don't know why, you're part of the problem."
Okay.
I was like, okay.
Right. Well, that was an interesting Dracula, an interesting Halloween experience. It rivals our good friend Randy Stonewall, who comes on this show often, famously joined us for the specifically Stairs episode. I recall a Halloween where he got in a fist fight downtown Halifax with a guy dressed up as Spider-Man. So.
Oh, wow. Full on fist fight, eh?
Pretty much, yeah. That's the polite way of saying Randy got beat up by a guy dressed as Spider-Man at about 4 a.m. But anyway,
yeah, there's no shame in losing to Spider-Man.
That's true. What about getting shamed by Dracula?
No, it was okay. I mean, it was a very odd experience, and
yeah,
I'm just hoping it was part of his Dracula character that he was doing, and not his straight up personality.
Okay, yeah, I don't know what that character is, because I feel like Dracula, the actual character, wouldn't have cards and roses. This seems like you're describing a really strange person at a Halloween dance. It's probably better off that you didn't get that rose. And I would say any women who took a rose from Dracula at the Red Barn on Halloween night should probably throw it away, because there's probably a little camera in it or something weird. But anyway, let's introduce our special drinks. We always do this before we get into the stories, and I actually have a very special drink in my hand. It's a new limited edition Coca-Cola Pop that's coming out for the holidays. It's called Holiday Creamy Vanilla Coca-Cola. It's 0 sugar. I'm opening it right now. I had one a few days ago. I bought 2 of them. They were like 2 for $5. They are so good. If anyone sees these at the store, I do recommend buying one. Do you got a special drink tonight?
Yeah, I do have a special drink. I probably had this on the show before, but it's a Zevia 0 sugar creamy root beer.
Okay, it's kind of in line with what I have here. It's sort of my pop's sister drink.
Yeah.
Let's get into it here. You weren't the only person to have a weird night on Halloween. We got a couple weird Halloween stories that kind of washed up into the Canadian news in the days after Halloween. I want to start with something that I think we probably will do every year as long as the show runs. News stories related to allegations that children's trick-or-treating candy was tampered with. It happens every year. We have so many stories related to it this year that I couldn't pick just one. So what I'm going to present to you, handsome Aaron Airport, is a collage of tampered Halloween candy news stories that played out across Canada in the days after Halloween 2025.
Provincial police are urging parents in the Mattawa area to carefully inspect their children's Halloween candy following a report of a suspicious substance they believe was found in a bag of chips. Police say on Saturday a family in the Chenier Road area of Papineau-Cameron Township reported finding a bag of chips that appeared to have been cut open and resealed. Officers conducted a preliminary test and found suspected morphine.
Have you checked your kids' Halloween candy yet? Regina parents did in east side of the city, and they found something quite frightening. Regina police say a parent called them after finding a thin piece of metal similar to a needle inside one of the chocolate bars that was given to their kid. It happened in East Regina. The child was out in the greens specifically. The caller said they found a small hole in the wrapper. They caught it just in time. Police remind you to check over all of your kids' candy.
Well, a night of magic and Halloween fun quickly moved to a real-life horror for families across the Lower Mainland. The first incident happened in Chilliwack, where a father says his daughter and her friends found sharp pins in several pieces of their Halloween candy. He says one child unfortunately discovered it once they'd taken a bite, but did spit it out. The second incident was in Surrey, where a parent found a staple in their child's Reese's peanut butter cup while checking the candy. The Surrey Police Service says although this doesn't happen often, it's incredibly disappointing and a reminder to parents to stay diligent.
And those are just the news articles that I happened upon with a Google search for like tampered trick-or-treat Canada, I think was my Google search. And those were the ones that came up. There's probably quite a few more. Just for anyone who wasn't keeping score during that collage, what we heard about was morphine in Mattawa, Ontario, a needle in Chilliwack, a staple in Surrey, and a needle in Regina. Does it surprise you that it's this common that we were able to find just that many news stories?
That doesn't surprise me. Like you say, there's probably many more out there from just this year. Mm-hmm. And we hear about this every year since Halloween began. It is a tale as old as time. And we'll hear about it next year too. So it's just going to be a very common thing. The morphine kind of makes me take a step back, though.
Yeah, that was a strange one. And what that story was in Mattawa, Ontario. I've never heard of Mattawa. I thought they were just saying Ottawa with a weird accent, Mattawa. That was like a chip bag that seemed to have been tampered with, like opened and shut or something, with morphine inside. That's a really odd thing to find. I don't get why you would do that or what was going on there. Hoping for the best in the world. I think that some of the other incidents could be like manufacturers' problems, like maybe something went on with some machine and some little piece of metal ended up within a candy or something, and it's not someone sticking dirty needles in. The staple stuck into a Reese's Pieces, I'm thinking was maybe just like a mistake at the store or something. Maybe like an employee with a rogue staple gun ended up shooting one or something. I don't know. I just hope that there isn't people trying to hurt kids in that way. But I don't know. It does look bad. But that said, I don't check my candy every year. I'm now thinking maybe I should run like a metal detector over my kids' candy.
Yeah, I think that's a valid option to partake in, and it could be fun too. You could be kind of make a game out of it, make a beach of Halloween candy, and whoever can find the tampered candy gets to exchange it for money or something.
Yeah, like a sort of a tooth fairy narrative we could
But
create.
then they would start to get disappointed that they didn't find any tampered candy when you don't want that reaction either. It's like, I didn't find any Reese's peanut butter cups with staples in them. Damn it.
Trick-or-treating, which should be a special time, but of course, with the state of the world and the state of the people that occupy it, I'm not surprised that things can get ugly even at Halloween, which brings us to our next Halloween foolishness story. I want to talk about a situation in Taché, Manitoba. A Halloween display turned into a community flashpoint. 5 life-size figures hanging by nooses that seem to represent local politicians has sparked outrage, kicked off a police investigation, and stimulated a wider conversation about the real threat of political violence, even in small-town Canada. Here's the story of the controversial Halloween display in Taché, Manitoba.
Well, Marilyn, the figures were displayed on the yard of a home in Saint-Geneviève in the arm of Taché. And the warning, the photo we're about to show you might be upsetting. 5 nearly life-sized person-shaped effigies were seen hanging from nooses below a sign reading in part, "Politics, all tricks, no treats." Now take a look at the legs in this photo. 4 have ward written on them, along with numbers, an apparent reference to specific wards in the RM. Another figure, dressed up in what appears to be a firefighter's uniform, was not on a noose, but was attached to a sign reading, quote, "For sale, our dignity for profit." Last Friday, Premier Wap Kinew said Minister of Municipal and Northern Relations Glenn Simard was reaching out to leadership in Saint-Geneviève, and the province will offer support.
Harrison, what about RCMP? What are Mounties saying about all this?
Well, Marilyn, in a brief statement, the spokesperson tells me they received a handful of complaints about the display, which they say it was taken down yesterday. They add they are not laying any charges at this time.
All right. Thanks for this, Harrison.
That's someone who doesn't get the spirit of Halloween and Halloween decoration. To like infuse local politics and in such an unhinged way. It's just so inappropriate. I hate to see it.
You don't care for that.
I mean, it's the same as like, if you're at a party or something and everyone's sitting around chatting and then one guy is sitting at the other side of the couch just ranting and raving about local politics and the mayor, and it's like, dude, just save it.
Yeah.
There's a time and place for that kind of discourse. In Halloween display on your front lawn that involves like nooses and all this stuff, it's many steps too far and just inappropriate. I don't like to see it.
Yeah. It's kind of the violent nature of the display that is the most upsetting. Like, you're referring to real people, real individuals. You may not agree with their politics, but the imagery does suggest, not necessarily flat out call for, but certainly suggest kind of a disturbing, violent kind of end to these people's lives or something. But yeah, I'm not sure how to feel about it. It does walk a very fine line between, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and going too far. So it's an interesting case study for sure. Because it does look like almost sometimes a normal Halloween display, some kind of bodies strung up in trees. But we covered a story, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, where someone in a neighborhood had a very realistic looking human body hanging from a tree.
I just feel like it should be kept at like pumpkins, maybe like monsters and witches and graves and stuff. But the idea of like putting gore in a public display is probably a step too far. But then having that gory scene represent local political figures, that's just a whole nother level.
Yeah. It's definitely not something I would recommend, not something I would do myself. But I am glad that there's no charges being laid here or anything like that, because I think that also starts to bring us into some dangerous territory at the same time. That where is the line that you draw where something is considered to be distasteful enough or threatening enough in a Halloween kind of decorative display to warrant charges? So that's kind of a tricky situation.
Yeah, I hope it never gets there. But Halloween, I'm an advocate for Halloween being like magical and cool and exciting for kids, and that's why I want to end this first segment with a voicemail from a listener who wants to weigh in on something we talked about last week. We talked about how the art of kind of making your own costume or having your parents make a costume for the kids is kind of a lost art. And we have a listener who weighs in on why she continues to make costumes for her children, despite it being actually quite time consuming and expensive. So as we go into the first break, I'll play that voicemail. And when we get back, we have a really cool duo of stories. I have 2 stories from the past week's news reports that involve cops in Canada being completely unhinged, But we'll get into that after this short break. But first, let's wax poetic on Halloween.
I listened to your ghost episode, and when you talked about the Halloween costumes, every year I make my daughter's costume. This year, going out and buying the fabric, it was $160. Halloween, to me, though, is worth it. It's just a lot of fun.
We've often featured collections of dumb Canadian criminals on Keep Canada Weird, but we don't often get to feature a collection of dumb Canadian cops. And this is going to be one of those special occasions. The first one we got is a bit of an eclipse of Keep Canada Weird topics. It's going to involve Ding Dong Ditch and a dumb Canadian cop. In Brandon, Manitoba, a group of kids were playing Ding Dong Ditch, and they chose the wrong house to target. Inside the house was an off-duty police officer, and his reaction to the ding-dong ditching has led to an investigation by Manitoba's police watchdog. Here's the story of why you don't play Nicky Nicky Nine Door on the front door of an overzealous cop in Manitoba.
Well, a week and a half ago, on the evening of October 19th, 5 youths were playing Ding Dong Ditch. However, at one home, a man answered the door and reportedly got into his car and started chasing after the kids. According to Brandon police, the man caught one of the youths and handcuffed her. He then took the girl to her own home in handcuffs. The mother of that girl called Brandon police to report him. It turns out that man was an off-duty RCMP officer.
Okay, Taylor, so many questions here. Was the girl hurt? Is the officer facing any charges, or is the kid facing charges? I mean, what did Brandon police have to say about all of this?
Well, the girl who was handcuffed wasn't charged with any crime merely. No one reported being injured during this incident. And as for the man, Brandon police did notify the Independent Investigation Unit of Manitoba. Now, it's a provincial watchdog organization investigating complaints against law enforcement officers and agencies. It's now investigating this.
Taylor, what about RCMP? What do they have to say?
Well, we reached out to RCMP headquarters here in Winnipeg. They tell us that the officer is with the Verdun detachment, which is just west of Brandon. Mounties also tell us his duty status is currently being assessed.
Oh, so I have I just want to jump right in with a theory. I have a feeling what this cop was doing was trying to kind of teach the girl a lesson, maybe scare her, what you're doing's bad. I'm going to put the cuffs on you. I'm going to take you to your mom and tell your mom what you did. But I have a feeling when the cop, off-duty cop, showed up with the kid, who I think it identified as a female, but I could be wrong. I think it said a girl. But anyway, took the girl to her house in handcuffs. I have a feeling that cop probably thought the parents are going to be like, good work, you scare her straight. But the parents maybe weren't so cool with that cop, that off-duty cop, handcuffing their daughter, which led to a complaint to the police force. That's kind of what I see is like maybe the cop thought he was going to scare her straight and assume her parents would enjoy that or something.
Yeah, no, that sounds exactly like what happened. That's what I was thinking too when I first heard this story. And it seemed like he probably took it too far. I don't know. It's again, when you're not there and you're not present to see how he was dealing with her and how old is she? We don't know that either.
But this just further highlights the risks associated with playing the harmless game of Ding Dong Ditch in 2025. We've covered so many Ding Dong Ditch stories that it surprises me the infinite ways that game can go wrong. I'm surprised I've survived to 40-something years old, having played so much Ding Dong Ditch as a kid and not got killed, as it seems is the pressing risk or the ever-present risk for children partaking in that prank in this day and age. But this is not our only Canadian story of cops behaving badly in the past week. We have, I think, the crown jewel of police dysfunction and screw up caught on camera with a story coming out of Toronto. Toronto police are investigating the conduct of some of their officers after footage began to spread online showing some of their officers accidentally running over a suspect with their police cruiser. Not once, but twice. I'm going to describe the footage a little bit because the news clip we're going to hear doesn't get into too much detail of what the clip actually shows. I have it on my Facebook page as well for anyone that's interested. But this footage shows a woman running from police through a parking lot in front of a Tim Hortons, of course. She gets tasered. The woman falls to the ground. As the police officers are kind of like crowding around her, like putting the cuffs on her, there's a police cruiser that's unoccupied nearby, but they must not have put it in park. So the police cruiser slowly rolls into the woman who's on the ground getting handcuffed. One of the cops handcuffing her jumps up, jumps into the cruiser, presumably to like back it up off of this girl. But instead of putting it in reverse, it seems like he puts it in drive and not only runs over the woman who just got hit by the unoccupied cruiser, but he smashes into one of his own officers as well. So the whole thing is like a train wreck of police activity. But let's listen to how the news discussed it. Here comes the story of the Toronto police accidentally running over a suspect twice.
An officer fires a taser and a suspect falls, dropping a metal object, and then the police SUV vacated by an assisting officer rolls, and when the officer returns behind the wheel, the video shows the cruiser surging forward instead of stopping, hitting both the suspect and one of the arresting officers. Mosa Bedran works next door and saw everything unfold.
First thing I heard a lot of people screaming, Then I'm coming from a restaurant and I see a lot of cops. It is follow the girl, have 2 knives.
Badran says an armed woman was walking around the parking lot damaging a Jeep along with a police vehicle.
He's just damaged the cars. I don't know why.
Melissa says police were actively looking for the suspect around 4 Saturday afternoon.
2 police officers came in basically asking me and my coworker if we seen a lady that was vandalizing cars.
And then about 15 minutes later,
go look outside the parking lot and then I see the cruiser, the cop cruiser kind of rolling away. And I see a bunch of cops trying to run and kind of stop it. So I'm thinking the lady got in and took it, but she was really under the cruiser.
Police say paramedics assessed both the suspect and the officer, and both were medically cleared, although the woman was taken to hospital for further assessment. Police adding, we are actively reviewing the circumstances and are grateful there were no serious injuries during this dynamic incident.
Ooh, wow!
So that's the situation. For anyone who hasn't seen the video, it's literally a miracle that no one was hurt in this. The woman gets hit by a car twice, but the second time, it's like he quickly accelerates right over. You even see the SUV lift up as it's going over her body, and she's kind of all caught underneath the front of it with a bunch of cops on her. It's crazy to me that she wasn't injured. And I must say as well is when they finally get the vehicle off of her, all the police are shouting, "Stop resisting! Stop resisting!" And it's like this woman was fighting for her life, getting run over twice by police, probably while going through some kind of mental health crisis that led to her walking around a Tim Hortons parking lot, vandalizing cars and flattening tires. This whole thing is such a train wreck.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what led up to her being arrested, right?
What we know is that she was vandalizing cars, and in some of the news clips, the camera kind of pans around, and it looks like all the cars are kind of keyed, just scratched down the side, and a bunch. She had 2 knives as well, and she was flattening tires. So I can't think of a lot. Well, you know what? I have a lot of problems with Tim Hortons, so maybe I can think of a few reasons why someone would have that much aggression towards the Tim Hortons parking lot, but I'm willing to bet that there's kind of mental healthy stuff going on here.
Yeah, that very well could be. But not knowing 100% of the facts there and exactly who this individual is,
you don't want to diagnose her?
I don't want to diagnose her.
Okay, so go on then.
I think we'll just leave her. Anyway, it's the kind of day at work where I hope it happened after lunch, I don't know if they said what time it happened, but before lunch, like right before lunch, where you're just like, oh man, I've got an awesome lunch today. I've got like leftover lasagna that I'm gonna heat up, and it's gonna be so good. And I got a piece of garlic bread with it
Mm.
and a chocolate milk. Like I'm just gonna have the best lunch, and it's 10 to 12, and I just got to arrest this woman who's been keying cars in the Tim Hortons parking lot, and then I'm gonna eat my lasagna, and it's gonna be so good. And then this happens.
That would really throw the rest of your day off. I don't know a lot about policing, but I do know that every cop involved in this incident had a whole bunch of paperwork to fill out that day.
Yeah, especially the cop that got into the car in attempting to reverse it off of the body, and then to further
Drove into her and another cop.
and then another cop. Yeah, like I just gotta. My mind is only on lasagna, guys. I'm sorry. I can't. I shouldn't have been the one to get in there to try and fix it.
Instead of R for reverse, he put it in D for dinner.
Yeah, D for dinner. Yeah.
And I wonder as well, like, is it the same cop who got in and drove over her? Is he the same cop who jumped out without putting it in P for park? Because he must have turned off the car and drive, I guess, for it to roll. And I think in my car, I don't even think I can do that. I don't think I can take my key out if it's not in park.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I've never tried. I mean, I don't have an actual key. Mine's a push button. So,
Oh, well, la-dee-da.
I know. I was waiting for a perfect moment to brag about that on this show. And I finally found
here
it.
it
It's
is.
been 3 years, and I finally found a moment to casually mention in related to a story that we're talking about that I have a push button instead of the keys.
It is so fancy. I worry about that technology because I often think like if my key isn't in the ignition and I have to manually take it out and stuff, I would lose it and lock my keys in the car or something.
No, it never happens.
It just seems like with the type of ignition you're talking about, where it's like as long as your key is within a certain distance from the ignition, you just push a button and the car starts. I feel like that vague connection between my key and my car is just leaving the location of my keys completely up to chance. And I hope technology and vehicle manufacturers move away from that.
No, I love it. I had some resistance to it in the early days, but then once I got used to it, I'm like, oh yeah, no, this makes complete sense.
Okay. I feel like it's a slippery slope, but we'll see. Time will
It's a
tell, I guess.
slippery slope. It's been a solid 10 years that they've been doing
Oh,
this.
has it? Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
drive a very old car.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Anyway, these cops, I'm sure, are going to get. Well, I don't know about these cops specifically, but I have a feeling that a lawyer stands to make some money by assisting this woman in going after the police who ran her over twice during an arrest. Do you think this is going to end in a lawsuit?
Well, I mean, if it were me, the one who got run over, yeah, I'd be suing.
Twice.
Twice, yeah. So I'd be suing twice.
Even once, like to be arrested, held down, tasered, and then have the cops cruiser run over you, like that alone is bad. But the fact that he jumps in and drives over her a second time, yeah, it's I feel like that's going to end in a lawsuit. As far as I know, one hasn't been filed yet, but I think it's probably only a matter of time. But before we move away from our duo of stories of policing, we have a little bit of a cherry on top, because keep in mind, people are getting scammed all across Canada. We constantly hear about it here on Keep Canada Weird. All different sorts of scams, some high tech, some low hanging fruit, some involving sleight of hand techniques, all sorts of things. And we rely on the same police that ran this woman over twice to protect our vulnerable from these many scammers. So I guess that's how I'm trying to fit this story in. But there was an interesting story related to scams in the news this past week. So I'm going to add this next story to what I'm calling our Scam Chronicles here on Keep Canada Weird. Our Keep Canada Weird Scam Chronicles, where we've been researching and raising the flag on many Canadian scams. This one's unique though, because it's a lot of the scams we hear are, this person lost $100,000. This is kind of a low value scam, but it's an interesting one. A shopper in Ontario went public with claims that they were duped by a sketchy social media ad they saw on Facebook. What she thought was a great deal on some clothes and shoes turned out to be far too high of a price to pay for the crap that showed up by mail a week or two later. Here's the story of the cheap crap that a really sweet lady bought on Facebook.
I'm upset. I'm angry. I don't want this to happen to anybody else.
Jackie Belfour of Niagara Falls was on Facebook when an ad popped up for a clothing store that claimed it was going out of business.
I found a 3-piece outfit and a pair of shoes that I liked.
She paid $135, but when the merchandise arrived, Belfour says it was cheaply made, and the shoes she thought were leather were plastic.
These are a $65 pair of shoes that are absolute plastic junk.
The website appeared to be based in Canada, but she was told she would have to return the items to China at a cost of almost $100, and there was no guarantee she would get a refund.
I felt ripped off. I felt that everything about this website had been misleading and really fraudulent.
Social media expert Janita Panu says while consumers may believe ads have been vetted by the platforms they appear on, she says that's not the case.
Scammers are building these Facebook pages, running ads for a short period of time, and then they would collect payments and maybe never deliver on the product.
Oh man, that poor lady. Like the world is, she's too innocent for 2025. The kind of ad she's describing, I see that sort of thing all the time where it's just this random junk that's probably being sold on like Temu or AliExpress or something like that. Is just being like resold with a markup by some random fake or nonsensical Facebook account. And she, again, being too innocent, kind of thought she was getting a great deal on it. It doesn't surprise me at all that this happens. It happens all the time. I feel like when you see these ads or when you go on Temu or one of these places, you're buying it with the understanding that it's probably going to be crap and you're just kind of rolling the dice. She thought she was getting a great deal. Now she's on the news.
Yeah. And I'm really surprised that this one made the news. We have stories like that often where we cover the story and we think to ourselves, why is the news covering this at all? She got the product. The product was terrible, but most people know when you see those awful ads come up on social media that it's probably complete junk. And
yeah, like kind of the oldest trick in the book sort of thing would be like it's being sold as I don't know whatever the item is, but when it shows up, it's like this. Maybe it's being sold as like I don't know a snowblower or something, but then when it gets to your house, it's just the small little toy snowblower. It's not like a real one. Like that kind of trick is what you see in these ads, is what I think. Or the clothes, like whatever you get, if you're buying it from these sites, it's just going to be not leather, plastic, just cheap junk made in China and sent here. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, the miniature snowblower would be a bigger story than this because she is actually getting the product that she ordered. It's just not to the quality that she had wanted or expected. Mm-hmm. So in the miniature, this is fictional, but the miniature snowblower would be quite a story, actually. You are getting what you ordered, but it's tiny, and I think that would be really interesting. But
it would be an interesting story.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah. In fact, it'd be so interesting that it could warrant a book or a feature film. But
really,
yeah, I think so. I think you're onto something there.
This poor lady.
It's just there's still a part of me. I do shop online. I'm very up on that trend, we'll call it.
This trend, yeah. I think it's going to catch
thing,
on.
Yeah. People are starting to shop online now, and
I'm crazy.
And I've tried it, and it worked.
Wow.
Yeah. I might do it again, but I think I think you and I both still enjoy going to a mall and going in and out of shops and looking around and picking up something, holding it in our hand and buying it. And I still...
Or going, I don't like this.
Yeah, and throwing it at the cashier.
It's a different world now, and you're right. People are shopping online, and I think it's going to catch on. And
yeah, they are, yeah. You can do a lot of stuff on the internet, not just shop.
Yeah.
You can look up recipes. You can look up, like, if you wanted to know different species of insects, you can go to the internet to do that.
You can find directions.
I was going to say that, or you could find out information on your favorite movie.
I'm going to think about my favorite movie as we take our second ad break. And when we get back, we have another twist in the Keep Canada Weird eclipse. That's when something we're discussing ends up in the news in an unexpected way. We'll get to that after this short break. Our final story of the night may just blow your mind. Handsome Aaron Airport, I'm not going to introduce the final story of the night. I'm going to let a listener named Kelsey introduce this one. I got a voicemail from Kelsey telling us about a story that we simply had to cover, and I agree with her. Here's what Kelsey had to say.
Hi. I just had to call in because I'm at home. I'm not feeling the greatest, and my two kids are sick. And they asked me to put on a show for them. So when I turned on the TV, there was just like a clip of a news segment. I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but as soon as I seen it, I thought, wow, I have to let Aaron and Jordan know about this. There were giant, massive tires found on Vancouver Beach or Island, not sure. But like I seen a clip, they're like monster truck tires. A bunch of them just washed up on this beach and they don't know where they came from. I can't help but think that maybe Aaron is behind it to get us to continue to talking about tires. Anyway, I think that you guys should probably look into this and report back. Thank you.
So Kelsey sent us that voicemail suggesting that there are massive tires washing up on a beach in British Columbia. I did a bit of Google searching, and this wasn't a lie. Whether or not you're involved is something for debate. But let's hear the story here. In Campbell River, BC, it's 11 massive tires. And when I say massive, I mean it. Each one is 3 meters tall, and each one is stuffed with styrofoam. And for whatever reason, they mysteriously washed ashore, and locals are left scratching their heads on how to deal with this. Here's the mystery of the huge tires.
It's not your typical beachcombing find.
Just under 10 feet, pretty much a meter.
These two massive columns of tires washed ashore on a Campbell River beach after a recent storm, most likely from an industrial dock along the coast.
We're not really sure where they came from, and we're trying to avoid pointing fingers who's at fault.
It's not the first time it's happened in the area. In August, plucking 3 of these giants, which were there for months, was no easy task.
The 3 of them weighed 22,000 pounds. So each one 7,000 and a bit.
The Campbell River Salmon Foundation says the concern is not the tires themselves per se, but rather the pea foam inside that keeps them afloat.
This stuff will all erode and reduce down into the individual peas.
At that point, it's virtually impossible to clean up.
I imagine it's in the environment forever.
And that's why they're taking matters into their own hands.
It's on our beach. Let's clean it up. Let's not point fingers and get it done. Get it out of here.
Greenways Land Trust, an environmental nonprofit in Campbell River, has been working with the foundation in cleanup efforts surrounding the tires and organized a volunteer cleanup of styrofoam associated with the tires last week.
In just over an hour, remove around 430 kilos of styrofoam.
With no easy access point, removing these 11 tires from the beach, however, is going to take a lot more planning to make happen. And it could take months for a plan to come together.
So first off, I didn't know they even made tires that big. Like for me, the mystery is what vehicle uses 3 meter tall tires? You see in this news clip, it's a grown man standing on the beach next to these tires, and they are much taller than he is. I don't like even a monster, like even monster truck tires, I wouldn't think are that big. I don't know where they're finding all of these tires to even mysteriously send out to sea.
I mean, I'm sure there is a vehicle that takes tires that big. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but
Like maybe if you were making, like when they're developing like a new community, and they're like flattening this big area to build a bunch of houses and a school and all this stuff. Maybe like big work trucks, construction type vehicles for that type of work. Maybe you would have something. And I
I'm
guess
sure.
I guess when those tires aren't in use anymore, they would have a lot of value in being used for a wharf. They would need to float. So the idea of filling them with styrofoam so that they do an even better job of floating, I guess that kind of makes sense. But introducing that much styrofoam into the water seems to be a problem. He referred to it in that clip as pea foam, and he talked about how it breaks down to its peas, which I've never thought of styrofoam as that. I just call it like the little balls when you break styrofoam, all those little white balls.
yeah, yeah. And so I can see how that can be very problematic for the environment and for the ocean and for all of the things. But I will say, to put more of a positive spin on this story, is that, there are tire stories happening every day. Do you find it a coincidence that after we spent so much time covering tire stories because we felt that the media wasn't paying attention, and then now the media is paying attention?
It is
and
funny,
they are
right?
covering tire stories.
It is funny. Did we not have last week? Was it 180 episode 186?
Yes, there was a tire story last week.
Oh yeah. Okay. The red car ripper who was flattening
Yes.
tires of red cars. Now we have the mysterious tires washing ashore in Campbell River. Yeah, like I think what we did is I think on Keep Canada Weird, we showed the media, the mainstream media in Canada, that talking about these stories is interesting. People enjoy it. Like our Entirely Tires special was downloaded over 700 million times. And I think maybe that was the ammunition they needed to say, you know what? We're going to talk about tires on Canadian media. And I guess what we're enjoying now is the fruits of our labor. Tires are enjoying the fruits of our labor.
Absolutely. But I do have a concern, though, now that we've brought tires to the mainstream. I do have a concern that the media now, in order to get clicks and views and ratings, is going to start planting tire stories. So, I mean, I don't like to say that Donald Trump is always right, but sometimes he is. A clock is right twice a day. A broken clock, I should say. A regular clock is right all the time, I suppose. But anyway, I think that we could see some kind of doctored tire stories in order
AI
for
generated.
Yeah, in order for media outlets to be able to take advantage of the tire wave.
But I think people truly interested in tire stories will look back at the work we've done, the trail we blazed, our Entirely Tires episode, and see that as kind of the foundational work that will stand on its own, I think, for years to come. And I think that's probably our legacy.
Yeah, I agree that we were pioneers, and in terms of the story of tires and where tires were, where they are, and where they're going. And we certainly brought a lot of that to the public's attention, to the public's, curious eye. And but I do have concerns that will be overshadowed by what I predict, the tire wave to be a tsunami of fake tire news. And I'm quite concerned. But the work that you and I put into tires, it won't go unnoticed by the history books. It'll be studied, and it'll be something that Certainly, if you go to journalism school, you'll have to
Yeah.
write papers on it.
Mm.
Certainly, governments are going to be talking about it. Yeah. I guess as a warning to this man who's trying to clean his beach up, just be careful about the language that you use when you're talking publicly about tires, because we don't want society to become anti-tire. And the way that he was speaking about tires was concerning to me a little bit, that it could be misconstrued to be anti-tire. Not saying that he is, but just the way that he spoke about them, and almost the disgust in his
so you
tone.
heard a little bit. I think you'd call that a dog whistle, where he's not saying it, but you're hearing a little bit of anti-tire rhetoric in his what he had to say.
Yeah.
Okay, I hadn't noticed that, but yeah, that may be there. Let's move on though to our final segment of the show. We have a voicemail to end the episode. It's from a listener named Alex in the United States. And yes, it's about tires. She has some thoughts on the red car tire massacre that we discussed last week. Here's what Alex had to say about it.
Hi, Jordan and Aaron. It's Alex from Arizona. I'm calling about the red car story. And the subject that came up about urban legends about red cars. Jordan, you brought up the urban legend that if you drive a red car, your insurance will cost more. I heard a different one always growing up, which was that if you drive a red car, you're more likely to be pulled over by the police. The assumption being that you're a flashy, aggressive person, and they assume things, that you're a impulsive decision maker and something like that.
Okay.
Handsome Aaron Airport, you're wearing some red on a shirt right now. Do you feel aggressive and impulsive? And is there maybe, is she onto something where maybe this, I don't know how this plays into the red car's tires being slashed, but do you think red cars are being pulled over more often simply because they're red, and there's some kind of psychological analysis that police officers are doing?
Yeah, I would say that makes complete sense. Red to me is the color of speed. It's a passionate color. So I would, danger.
Blood is red. Fire is red.
Lust. Yeah. I would think that if you're going to pick one color that represents speed, it's going to be red. And if I'm looking around the roads as a police officer, and I've got to meet my quota of speeding tickets to give out, I'm looking for red cars.
I wonder, it kind of I could see that making a little bit of sense. Red is a passionate color. I was thinking, is Valentine's Day, because red I think of as a little bit like horror, because blood and all that stuff. But red also kind of is used in Valentine's Day as well, right? I know Valentine's Day has a lot of pink, but red is a prominent Valentine color.
Yeah, so what are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say that it kind of has both sides of the spectrum. It's a romantic color. It's also a violent and aggressive color. It could be a horrifying color. But I think it's a color with a lot of passion behind it.
Certainly, and that's why you speed, because if you're in love with someone, you're speeding to get home to them.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're speeding to get to your date on time.
With them, yeah.
Yeah, with them, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, we're going to have to paint all red car owners with the same brush here and arrest them all.
Yeah, and slash their tires. So I guess
this
is
why
all
we've
comes
solved
together.
it. Yes, we solved it. It's because of this.
We've been calling them the red car ripper, but what they are is the Rouge Vigilante.
Yeah, and they're saving lives by slashing these tires.
Well, that's a good way to wrap this up. And we have a lot more voicemails that came in over the past week. We're probably working our way towards the next mailbag. But anyone out there listening, if you go to thecanadiangothic.com/contact, If you have anything to say about anything we talked about tonight, you can send us a voicemail there. And if your voicemail is aired on the show, you can go to that same website, thecanadiangothic.com/contact, and there's a little button you click to claim your swag pack. We'll send you some stickers and whatever else we have lying around as a thank you. I think we've done it though, Aaron. Is there anything we missed tonight? Anything else we got to get into? Or did we do our job and keep Canada weird for the 187th time?
Yeah, I think we did it, especially for the tires out there. And I just want to say to all you tires, just keep fighting the good fight.
I should also say the story of the woman who was run over twice by the police, she was slashing tires.
Yeah. This is... Yeah,
it's all coming full circle.
Yeah.
Handsome Aaron Airport. Until next time.
Jordan, bus stop, backhoe, Bonaparte. Until next time.
Don't ding-dong ditch in the year 2025. Things are too screwed up to even get into any nonsense like that.
Well, you know, if you ring my doorbell ever, Jordan, you better be on the other side, because I will be more disappointed than a blue car looking to get pulled over for speeding, but being ignored by the police.
I want to thank you for helping Aaron and I fulfill our mission to keep Canada weird. Now, if any one of you listening want to get more involved in what we're doing, we need all the correspondence we can get. So if something weird happens in your area, or if you have any thoughts on anything we discussed tonight, let us know about it. The best way to reach us is by using the voice recorder that can be found at thecanadiangothic.com/contact. Now, I'm going to start wrapping up the episode, but before we part, let us thank a few people. First of all, Aaron and I want to give a big thank you to all the correspondents who contributed to this episode. If your voice message was aired on the show, go back to thecanadiangothic.com/contact and fill out the form to claim your swag pack and Keep Canada Weird badge. We'll happily get it right out to you. Next, a big shout out to Unicole for the intro and outro voiceovers, and Monty Data, who provides the outro version of O Canada that you're about to hear. And then lastly, but most importantly, we have a massive thank you to every one of you listening, as without your interest and your support, this work would be impossible. And for any one of you out there who want to support the show financially and get more out of the show at the same time, please consider the premium feed. Our premium feed subscription costs just a couple bucks a month, and that money will fund the creation of new episodes. But the premium feed will also give you those episodes early, give them to you ad-free, and give you access to a full back catalog of Keep Canada Weird episodes and bonuses. You can go premium at thecanadiangothic.com/subscribe. And even if the premium feed isn't for you, you can still support the show by simply sharing episodes on social media. That's free, and it's a big help. So until next time, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and please keep Canada weird.
And keep Canada weird. Please keep Canada weird.